Let's
Okay.
jump into the interview with
To
the vampire.
Today I will be covering a little bit of the interview with the vampire show that recently just came out on AMC. Let me share my screen so I can show some pictures of the show. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's just like a Google Yahoo actually.
Mhm. Yahoo.
That-
You'd be
I'm
surprised how many people use Yahoo. I've learned through work. It's insane.
That's wild.
I'm
Yeah.
genuinely surprised it's Yahoo right now too. Actually, I thought I was using Google Chrome. What the? Oh no, it's Yahoo through Google Chrome. It just blew my own mind. Anyway,
Hang on, let me message you on AOL real quick to figure out if this is correct
hit
or
my
not.
hit my aim.
Yeah. Oh
um,
God.
anyway, Interview with the Vampire just came out, and to my amazement, it was actually a really great interpretation of Anne Rice's books of her Vampire Chronicles, focusing on Lestat. Um, I for one just want to mention all the actors. Louis was Jacob Anderson, who was also Little Worm on Game of Thrones. If anybody's a fan, Lestat was Sam Reed. He killed
Mm.
it. Claudia was Bailey Bass. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but they did phenomenal work. And to start off, Lestat, I feel like it was actually true to the book. He had like this nice, charismatic French accent, and if anybody watched the movie, it's not they did not like have that like kind of interpretation, that feeling. So I think he really killed that role. He had this very seductive, powerful French accent, and he really commanded a room, especially with his powers. And he he really got me feeling for him because like he just genuinely loves Louis and he wants to be with Louis, but at the end of the day, Louis just doesn't love him. But so you could feel for his pain at the same time. He just wants this like eternal companion, and Louis was a great interpretation as well because they turned him black, which is awesome in my opinion because it only makes sense. He's a gay black man in New Orleans. That makes sense in my opinion. Um, but it also helps it be progressive in a sense because they could have like the racial tension, being like a vampire that's black, and and having to kind of step down to these weakling humans that he can just tear in half in a second. So you
I
kind
was
of
about to say, even
you could
vampires are racist. I was
so you kind of get to
like,
see this like internal struggle within Louis, who's already struggling to become a vampire in the first place. So I really thought that was a compliment to the story, and really it made sense in my
no,
opinion.
that's definitely a cool perspective to have.
No, yeah. So I really enjoyed it because that's not in the book at all, and none of this is
Mm.
really in the book. But I totally could feel like this could be in the book.
No,
You know?
it's not like one of those editions that's put there for no reason.
Yeah.
It's an observation that was made, whether someone who these writers were reading the books and they were like, "Oh, like this could actually be a good and proper addition to the story
It could add a whole
without
nother layer. Huh?
yeah, without ruining the main essence of the story."
Yeah, yeah, totally. It just helped revolutionize, make it more modern, but
Mhm.
still captures the same essence of the original work. And I'm sure Anne Rice is very pleased with that because it came out really great. Little Worm killed the role of Louis, and no, yeah, it was amazing. I loved seeing Claudia and Louis kind of their bond too because uh, she became like a daughter slash kind of like sister figure, and then eventually she just becomes so smart that she and Louis have to like team up to kill Lestat, who's like super smart. He's almost like 200 around this at the end point, and so it's really cool seeing them kind of work through their clever minds, like their mind magic. They like talk through their mind telepathy, and they're trying to plan around Lestat, who's got crazy powers. He can fly and he can stop time almost, and it's really you really feel for the characters, and it really is a nice drama done well, not just like kind of like not to stomp on 30 Days a Night because I love that series too. But like they're more like mindless and just like, oh, I just need to feed. Whereas these vampires are sophisticated and they'll like Lestat will stalk his prey for like a couple weeks and then pounce on him when he wants to and just play with them and kind of dismantle them and make them feel all types of confused so all their chemicals are pumping through the blood and he just kills them. And also like that they use terminology from the book like she Anne Rice mentions Savage Garden. Lestat refers to the world as a savage garden, and they use that terminology in the show. The Dark Gift, Le Petit something, it's like a little sip was what they call it. Um, they also mention those who must be kept, which I think is alluding to where they're going to go next, which is the Queen of the Damned book, movie slash whatever you want to call it arc.
That was Anne
So
Rice also.
yeah,
Oh, interesting.
yeah. So I'm really
That movie
curious.
sucked.
Sucks so good. I really loved it. Aaliyah changed my life in that movie.
I've never seen any Queen of the
I've
Damned
seen
or Interview
Queen
with
of the
Also,
Damned.
Vampire. No.
the guy from Korn, I forgot his name, the lead singer.
Mhm.
He
Yeah.
made the soundtrack for that movie, and I fucking loved it.
Queen of the
So,
Damned. Yeah, no, I remember because I got a couple of songs off of you actually because
yeah,
you played
There's a
that
lot of people
soundtrack
that like that
back in the
movie.
day.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't that great,
No, yeah, it's
but
not that great if looking in
besides that,
retrospect, but it
yeah,
was a cult classic, and it was
Yeah.
like a
yeah.
nice Anne Rice getting Anne Rice out there and her Vampire Chronicles. So I'm wondering if they're gonna like next season's clearly gonna be the way they wrapped up. It's clearly gonna be Claudia and Louis going to see the theater of the Vampire and conclude the interview with the Vampire Saga. But I'm curious if they're gonna go run into the Queen of the Damned, the Body Snatcher, Memnoch the Devil, and also the arcs where they're dealing with the Vampire core. I'm curious if it gets enough like momentum if they're gonna go the whole run because there's a lot of good stuff there. My favorite is Memnoch the Devil, where he pretty much gets recruited by this like devil like character, and he's pretty much takes him to heaven and hell, and he has to decide, and just messes up his mind. Uh, a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of content they could work with so far. The way they started off this series, it just blew me away. I
Is
really
this a
love.
BBC show?
It's a
AMC.
AMC.
AMC. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Since this is an AMC show, I mean, I know you're saying you hope that it goes for a while. I mean, if The Walking Dead's any indication, this show ain't never gonna end. So
That's it's gonna get like 74 spin-offs.
yeah,
No, yeah, and also just another thing before I conclude the spoilers. I've already said a lot of spoilers already, but the twist at the end is you find out that Louis is dating Armand, who's another ancient vampire, and which is crazy because I think, and if I remember correctly, Armand turned Daniel, who's the guy, the reporter guy. So I'm curious if in the next season or in coming seasons, like Armand breaks up with Louis and falls in love with Daniel, because that's how it happened in the books, and so I'm just trying to see what's happening, projecting my thoughts, but I'm 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 really blown away by this. I listened to all the books on audiobook, and one of my favorite series, and Memnoch the Devil is actually one of my favorite books.
Mhm.
So cheers to some awesome writing and quality vampire drama, and to this show. I hope they go the long run because you also got Marius and Pandora. There's so many different vampires, and even Armand, who I mentioned earlier, he has like a crazy background story too. There's just so much there that they could do here. So there's a lot of spin-off um, potential, which a lot of people like money wise. You just milk it for what it's worth. But regardless, I hope that it gets a lot of traction and doesn't fizzle out, and people like me fall in love with the Vampire Lestat, like Louis has. He's just an awesome character. I really like him, and check out the show if you haven't.